The mosque near Ground Zero has been okayed, but now some families of 9/11 victims are outraged. The project got approval last night from Community Board 1 in Lower Manhattan, and the mosque is expected to be built in the next 3 years.
Joining us now to discuss both sides of the story is one of the project's founders, Imam Faisal Abdul Rauf, and Tim Brown, a former New York City firefighter and 9/11 responder. He also is the founder of a website called thebravest.com. Thanks, gentlemen, for being with us. Imam, let me just ask you right off the bat, I'm sure that you understand that there's a sensitivity issue involving all of this. So why build so close to the terrorist attack site?
Well, because we want the whole world to know that Muslims condemn 9/11. We have been condemning 9/11 in the loudest terms possible ever since then, and we want to make sure that this message is heard loud and clear. Terrorism and extremism does not distinguish between different faith or ethnic communities. I have been a member of this community since 1983. I'm a member of a mosque in Tribeca, and among my congregation were among those who were suffered and who died in 9/11.
And Tim, let me ask you, you're tuned into what's going on. What are you hearing? What is the feeling from families and the people living in the area?
Yeah, the families are not happy about this. The families I spoke with today after this occurred last night, we are concerned that this is a Trojan horse being rolled into our most sacred ground zero, where we lost so many of our family and friends. Although I appreciate the Imam, what he's saying, I have a question for him. Where did the millions and millions of dollars in cash come from that bought this property where you plan to build the mosque? We haven't heard anything like that. Another question I have for him is, although he says that the Muslim community has come out strongly against radical Islamic terrorism, I guess I've been asleep for the last 8.5 years because I have not seen it.
Why don't you answer that?
Well, we have several thousand people, more than 1,000 people who are Muslims who work in the financial district. They are among the supporters. I have worked with the FBI. In fact, right after 9/11, I was invited to lecture to all 1,200 FBI agents on how we as Muslims and Muslim leaders can participate with the law enforcement agencies to ensure that this kind of event doesn't happen, and that what is called extremism coming from our community does not happen. I have worked with all the law enforcement agencies. We have excellent relationships with the first precinct, which is just across the street from my current mosque. As far as the funding, it's coming from our community. We have members who are at various levels of many of the financial institutions, and this is where our support has come from.
Imam, I want to just go for a moment. You just mentioned this. You do have a mosque 12 blocks away from Ground Zero. Have there ever been any problems there at all?
Well, as I just mentioned, a number of members of my congregation were among the fatalities, that suffered in 9/11. Our mosque was shut because the whole area was cordoned off. We have always maintained excellent relationships with our local community, as well as with the multi-faith community.
I've got to say, Imam, that the families are very concerned about what you're doing. The families I spoke with.
But Tim, let me just say that.
May I just say one thing? We have been in touch with the 9/11 families. We have a number of them who have supported this project. We're reaching
very
out
few.
On the contrary, the majority of them support it. And there's still others that we'd like to reach more, but we invite you to come to sit down with us.
Thank you. I still didn't get an answer for where the $3.85 million in cash came from.
It came from our community.
I find that very hard to believe, Imam.
Of course, we have people who are very successful members of this community, of the American community, the financial community.
Would you be willing to show that?
Gentlemen, unfortunately, we're running out of time, so we'll have to continue this compelling conversation another time. We thank you so much for this, Tim Brown and Imam Faisal Abdul Rauf. Thank you again, gentlemen.
All right. Harry Martin is now